All right. All right. Name and handlers.
Dr. Uche Odiatu, Toronto, Canada. Fit Speakers is my account name on Instagram, so it's at Fit Speakers. Twitter is at Fit Speakers. Website is druche.com, so druche.com. And Uche Odiatu is spelled, first name is Uche, last name Odiatu, Odiatu.
Love it. All right. So we're going to get started. Dr. Uchi, I am so excited that I was able to lure you onto this wonderful video cast. Thank you for joining us. And I just have so many people who have been waiting to hear from you. They want to hear Dr. Uchi and all the things, the knowledge that you have to offer us. So I'm going to let you share with us a little bit of your backstory and some of your accolades and titles because there are so many. And we're just going to dig in and spend some time together. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Hey, always a pleasure. I love sharing any information that can help colleagues, anything that can support someone in their journey, whether it's professional or personal. I am there. Like, I know what it's like to be lost, and I know what it's like to have a helping hand come along, and then simply paying it forward in every conversation and every patient interaction. And yeah, there's something to be said about giving your passion away, and it's very joyful. And where did my wellness journey start? I say, like, talk about moms, and I've read that 85% of all the people that call a dental office typical appointment is women. So women are wellness, women are interested, men kind of tag along. I think the only way that men
Yes.
call on a dental office is if it's a very similar number to the Home Depot and they call by accident. That's how men end up
Yeah.
calling a dental office. But so my mom, I said age 6, age 7, she was feeding us cod liver oil because she kept telling us eat this because it's good for your brain.
Okay.
Again, she did brown sugar versus white sugar. Meanwhile, we now know that brown sugar is basically white sugar with a dye job. But her initial intention was to tell us reasons why we need to eat healthy, and that stuck with me. And all four of us kids, I have two younger brothers and an older sister. We're all into health. Me, as a career, but everyone looks really good. Everyone is living that, and it's been like that, I'd say, for decades. So that early, I was almost say indoctrination. My mom made it fun. If you want muscle, eat this. If you want a good brain and you have a test today, drink that. And I since age 6, I would say it's been woven into all of my lunches, the sports I do, the conversations chair side. So I've been at this for over 30 years. I've been an athlete for over 40 years.
Wow.
Sort of double certified as a personal trainer. For that NSCA, which is one of the toughest ones to get certified in the United States. In Canada, it's CanFit Pro. That's my certification. I'm a professional member of the American College of Sports Medicine. So the challenge with all that is maintaining the CE, because to maintain my license in Ontario, I got to do 90 hours of CE every 3 years. To maintain my
Wow.
certification as a trainer, I got to do 20 hours a year, and it's articles or lectures or courses. So it takes a lot to stay current, and I consider that an investment. Just like I consider my food an investment. People often say healthy eating costs money. I'm saying, what costs money? Cancer costs money.
Oh,
A
yeah.
stroke costs money. Your broccoli and maybe eating organic blueberries, that's an investment in your knee, in your meniscus, in your skin. So healthcare doesn't cost, the preventative aspect doesn't cost. It's an investment. So when I go into the store, I'm thinking, I'm investing in my brain today. I'm investing in my lower back. My lower back's a little stiff. What does my lower back need? So what kind of anti-inflammatory foods am I going to pick to support this back getting better? And we can share that philosophy, how my eating choices is very intentional. And anyone can start that today. Like, people want to start celebrating their fitness goals when they acquire them, when they've lost the 50 pounds. I say celebrate on the initial decision, celebrate on the stepping out the door in the new sneakers, celebrate that first walk, because that's on that path you spend most of your time. Like when the Olympic athletes are at the Olympics in Paris, they'll be jumping up and down with their victory, but they spend more time in that 18 years preparing. So it's kind of cliche to say the journey, but on purpose, I think is more important to me than celebrating the victory of being fit. So I
I love
celebrate
the
any,
habit
yeah.
stacking. That's what it. You're celebrating your habits, your new habits, right?
Yeah. And
Like
yeah, that
when.
investment in food. I'm a mom. I'm choosing the best food for my family. I'm a dad. I'm taking charge of my son's health. And that's way
Yeah.
more valuable than saying, oh, I'm finally at my high school reunion and I feel great. Well, celebrate the 6 months how you got there. So, and I think if you're on purpose, like right now, I couldn't get any happier. I'm talking to you, I'm sharing from the heart. If the world ended in 10 minutes, or well, we'll wait till after the show, okay? Um,
Yes. Let's wait.
I'd be completely fine. I am
Right.
on purpose. I am sharing my all the culmination of all this learning with you. How could it get any better? How could it get any better? Do I need a Netflix documentary? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel on target, helping, supporting, and that's a
Yeah.
great place to be. That's a really good place to be, and anyone can get that now. There is no waiting for that great place to be. So, enjoying slices of time, sharing from the heart. So whether it's chairside or on the podium, on a podcast. That is who I am. I'm essentially wellness personified.
So let me ask you a question. This wellness personified guy, dentist,
Mhm.
trainer, your mom started you on this journey so early. And the journey, did you ever come off the journey? Did the journey, I know it's had tough times in life of just stresses and things. How do you got the training from your mom? How
Mhm.
did you take that training and just continue to run with it and implement it into your practice and implement it into everything that you do? It's so intentional, and there's so many people that deal with depression and deal with life circumstances that just pull you down, and then they see guys like you who are just happy all the time, present,
Yeah,
intentional all the time. How do you manage to keep that path, and
yeah,
is
good
it a
question.
path you've always stayed on?
Yeah, I know my mom never went to university, but somehow she was a great cognitive behavioral therapist. She was great at reframing. You know, she was so good at planting the seed.
Oh,
My mom and dad moved from England to Canada. One of my dad's goals was to have every one of us go to university, which is kind of
oh,
unheard of back in the 70s
sure.
with kids moving to Canada. But his constant dialogue was, "Oh, when you're in college, oh yeah, when you finish university." He said that so many times. After high school, boom, all four of us college. All four of us went to university, and all four of us went. My sister and I got 2 degrees each. My brothers got 1 degree each, and we just went. And now you see, we just thought that was everyone does that. And then people are shocked that all four of us went to school, double degrees on a single income. But I think my mom and dad were just great at that relentless message without like a dominant fist. It was just, oh, when you're in university, oh, after college, have your carnival oil. You have an exam today, make sure you have your carnival oil. They just totally aligned their message was so essential, it passed on to us.
It was
Um,
the environment. Like they cultivated the environment for you. So
yeah,
like you
yeah.
just lived in
I was
health and
immersed.
lived
It was
in.
like complete immersion. It's like a fish. I was a fish in water going, water is who I am. So growing up in our family was carnivore is who we are. We go outside and play after studying. Lights out, blah, blah, blah. We have an apple because it's good for this. Have some protein is good for your muscles. Tell the teacher tomorrow this. So, yeah,
They
so
gave you the why.
the
Like,
why.
yeah, they like gave you a why with everything.
Yeah,
And
don't do it because I'll beat you. Don't eat your broccoli because your
right,
dad's gonna tan your hide. It was
right,
eat your broccoli because it's good for your stomach. Or
yes.
um, and that became part of who I am. So now though, with patients, I had a patient just yesterday, a lawyer. I'm pretty sure he was a year younger than me, but I never tell people my age because they just get annoyed. So I just said, I look at when people ask, I'm like, I'm not sure you need to know this because no one ever is happy when they hear it. But he started talking about his pocketing, and he's a busy lawyer. He's going to retire soon. And I said, you know what? Inflammation and pocketing always comes with two or three other things. I said, there's like four of the things you got to be careful of. I said, with chronic inflammation that's not getting better. I said, heart, you start looking at your blood sugar management and your joint pain. And I said, "What's your blood pressure like?" And we're just talking again. Medical history I reviewed before I came in. Yeah. He goes, "I'm on medication." And I said, "Blood sugar?" He goes, "Yeah, I have peaks and valleys." And he goes, "I take Januvia." And I go, "That's a diabetic medication." He goes, "Oh no, I take it for my heart." And I'm thinking, okay, whatever you tell yourself. And I
Right.
said, do you have any joint pain? He goes, "Yeah, my knees bug me all the time." I said, "You're inflamed." I said, you're inflamed. And I haven't talked to him in 4 months. So I said, like, hygienist is like wanting to get me to get going. But I said, you probably could step up your frequency of hygiene every 3 months because you know they've actually Journal of American Dental Association has shown when you manage your mouth better, you can manage your blood sugar better. So we're gonna get you on 3 months. It goes okay. I goes, do you sleep well? He goes, not very good. I said, do you wake up rested? He goes, no. I go, do you snore? He goes, yes. I said, you know, there's a book called Breath. I have it on my phone. I goes, it's a life changing book. He goes, take a picture. He took a picture. And I said, you sleep with your mouth open, your brain is in fight or flight all night. And I said, anytime the brain's in fight or flight, it puts all long-term healing on hold. And I said, with you snoring every night, you're undergoing accelerated aging. And I'm now at 2 minutes into the conversation. I said, you got to get, I said, there's something called hostage tape. I said, it's really funny, but there's a tape that you can put over your mouth. Have you ever had a sleep study? He goes, no. He goes, I'm not going to have one. Okay, good. That's fine. I said, you listen to this book. I said, don't buy the book because most people don't read the book past the first chapter. You listen to it. It's the best way to listen. You don't have to memorize it as a doctor would. It's written for lay people. But I said, if you start, he goes, how soon will I feel better? I said, the first night. I said, the first night you'll feel better with your mouth closed. I said, there was a 10-day study where the scientist and his protege put cotton rolls in their nose and they breathe in and out of their mouth for 10 days. Blood pressure up, testosterone down, pulse, resting heart rate was 110. I said, it's life changing. And he goes, oh my God. He goes, I've never been this excited before. He's been in practice for like 20 years. It was just the time for that conversation because he looked horrible to me. Like, he looked really horrible to me. Sometimes when people look kind of a gray color, I'm thinking, this guy may not make it to the next appointment in my eyes. Like, he was like
Yeah.
late 50s. And he goes, okay. He goes, I'm going to get on this. I said, well, if you got to call me, you message me here. I said, I'll get back to you. But let's see where you can go in the next few months because I'm looking forward to your life. He goes, and then he left. He paid his bill, left in an excited mode. So that is my impromptu intervention, no judgment. And I might check in him today. I might give him a phone call to say, hey, Dr. Odiatu, calling, just checking to see how you're doing. Did you download the book yet? And,
Yeah.
you know, so that's me. That's the essential Uche interacting with the patient chair side, you know.
But that's so beautiful because it's so much more than the tooth, the
Yeah,
cavity.
yeah,
You've connected his inflammation to his life.
yeah,
You have him concerned about his life,
yeah, yeah,
his
yeah,
whole life, not just you need to be more fit,
yeah,
you need to brush better, you need to floss
yeah,
better, do this thing.
yeah,
You are so, the care factor is
yeah.
super high when you're present.
Yeah. So the hygienist heard that, so she can kid it on his conversation.
Yeah.
Hygienists love it when dentists talk prevention. When we start talking about 4 crowns and 6 crowns, hygienists, even though they might be on a percentage of production, their eyes kind of glaze over. But you talk prevention, hygienists are like, I love my doctor. He comes in, he's talking about 3 months recare. He's talking about managing the mouth better at home. So, you know, and that whole idea, and I always like to share it. You know, patients actually will spend 4 hours with you in a year, approximately. The average patient, 3 4 hours, depending if they come in for 3 month form of hygiene. But they'll spend 8,696 hours on their own. So I say, what is more traumatic or what could be sabotage? The 8,696 hours they spend alone, or I don't care how good of a dentist you are, your work could be reversed completely by poor at home sleep, eating, movement, and oral hygiene. So
Absolutely.
we got to focus on some life affirming essential habits up here. You can be an amazing, you know, LVI, Coyce, Dawson, Pankey doctor, Pankey office, but we
Yeah.
got to get good at reframing that home life. What's going on at home? Like, do they brush their teeth when they've had too much to drink? Do they keep sleep with the night light on? Do they have a Burmese mountain dog on the bed? You know, so
Yes.
lifestyle is powerful. That's one of my sessions. What I do is called the secret lives of your patients. And, you know, tapping off that secret life of plants, but secret lives of patients. What do patients do when they're alone at home? And are they supporting your treatment or are they sabotaging it?
Ooh, that's such a good book.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're going to write it, right?
Okay.
It's
There we go.
coming.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But you're so right because this whole we do a whole exam before hygiene. So hygienists do the screenings and then we get
Mhm.
the doctor in for the exam so he can see the dirty teeth.
Yeah,
Doctors do not like to see dirty teeth, but if they see that, they're much more engaged in like what the heck's going on,
yeah,
what's changing. Let's have a real conversation about you.
yeah,
And then their care factor goes up because it's not a quick check in and
yeah,
out.
yeah,
It's and it's not a everything looks good and your hygienist is annoyed because her eyes are rolling because, she just busted it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
very engaged. And I love that you are all about the breathing. The
yeah,
breathing is life.
yeah.
That is your energy. That's the focus. My father died of undiagnosed sleep apnea
Oh wow. Okay. So sorry.
17 years ago. And
Okay.
that started my journey of I had taken a long mini residency for sleep prior to that. And I was kind of on my sleep kick, begging everybody in my family to get sleep tested and checking on them. And then this happens to my dad. And it just, again, the journey, it just keeps making those things so important. And then it becomes important into practices so that, people can implement and share truths to patients because
Yeah.
the sabotage at home. Wow. I mean, over 8,000 hours of sabotage.
Yeah, for sure. It's a tsunami. And but you want to give them hope though. Like they always
Yes.
think, oh, easy for you, doc, you look great in your scrubs or your teeth are so white, blah, blah, blah. But I
Yeah.
said, no, it's daily maintenance. I said I could look and feel horrible in 4 months if I went through a drive-through every night, drank 4 beers a night, stayed up late every night, and fought with just had a really combative relationship. I could look horrible. I could look like Elvis Presley. I could look like Elvis Presley on his deathbed. So
If
I
you ate
said
some,
this,
if you ate some fast food, and if you
yeah,
made poor choices in your food
yeah, in
intake,
four
you could
months,
look like that in 2 days.
yeah, yeah. So I said, but I said, who says you got to get up and do a bikini contest or a bodybuilding contest? It's you look the best you can, feel the best you can. And I said, and I always say, if you think of me as inspiring, and they say, yeah, you have it inside you to be inspiring because I can only see traits in others that you have inside you. So I said, you be Uchi when you're with your friends, and don't lecture them. Just let them see you attack your salad, or let them see you ask for olive oil and balsamic vinegar, and ask why, and let them see the vibrant energy in your face. Let them see how white your teeth are and ask, where do you go? And I said, you will become the teacher. You will be me in your everyday life. I said, you have it in you to be you. Oh, Dr. Odiatu, I can be you. No, trust me. I said, you take some of that enthusiasm and you sprinkle it on some of your conversations. You be that person. Just like you always say, what would Jesus do at this point in time? Or what would Abraham Lincoln do in this conversation? You ask yourself, what would Uche do in this? What would Uche choose for lunch? And you will be that person for other people. And I said, talk about having a great day. Like you inspire your son or your spouse or your butcher. Uh, Someone talks about how white your teeth are. You tell them, I get my teeth cleaned every 3 months. I used to go every 9 months, but now you go every 3 months and tell them why. I said, you will be that inspiration. And it's amazing how many lives you'll touch and where that can go in a day. Like
Yes.
you can turn a life around in a conversation on a plane,
Yep.
and that's a fire that can be flamed, just like a single match can take down a forest. You can
Yeah.
excite legions of people with a conversation. So anyway, it can get emotional because people start, Dr. Liatu, do you think it's possible? I said, I see it in you. I said, I see me inside you. Dr. Liatu, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Like, so that's what I do. Like in a conversation, and the hygienists, they start picking up the languaging, right? They hear the language,
Yeah.
and I pass the torch on to them after. I said, she's gonna take this from here on in, and that's how it goes. It's just it's a powerful day. As much as when you cement 6 veneers and they look great, you leave a conversation and people think, oh my God, that person's life has changed. In my mind, I'm thinking, you leave this elevated walk down the hallway. It takes away the fatigue after being in the office for 8 hours, knowing that you've
Yeah.
made a change that could really help them in every sense. Because I always say, we talk about the mouth being the gateway. Every other profession is kind of taking a step back. Chiropractors have taken a step back. Doctors are really busy putting out single fires.
Yep.
Every specialty is looking after their, like the brain, the gut, this. But as a dentist and hygienist could lead the way. And the new ADA mantra, which I believe possibly could be rolled out in the fall, is we make people healthy. This smile, this teeth thing is like, that is the nuts and bolts. But the mantra is going to be, we make people healthy. And I think people are ready for that. They're ready for any provider or healthcare professional to look at everything. Like I say, patients are starving for healthcare providers to look at them from head to toe.
Yep.
And I think hygienists and dentists are ready. The whole team is ready to say, the buck stops with us. The buck stops with us. And
What
I,
hygienists learn in school, blood pressure, screenings, all these things. And then they get out of school and they're like, my dentist doesn't do blood pressure. My dentist doesn't want me to probe it like once a year and check gums.
yeah,
I'm like, get back to the roots.
yeah, yeah,
The
for sure.
word this year, I think the big buzzword is functional.
Yeah, okay.
Functional, you hear the word functional a lot. Used to, you would hear a couple years ago was integrative. Now you hear functional, functional.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's the great reset.
yeah,
Like all these things are happening, all these anomalies post COVID are happening, and short staffing, and just a bazillion things that have made people take control of their health care. Like
yeah,
you are in control of this.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
want the change, if you
You
fireworks,
are
see,
you
that
are the
means I did a
fourth. You
good
are the
job.
4th of July. You're the 4th of July. Every conversation. Yeah,
I love it. But if you want the change, I'm like, make your list of the things you want to change. Tell your
yeah,
provider, find the provider that fits you. So
yeah,
that way they can be your advocate for the change. They're not going to do it for you, but
yeah.
they are going to help advocate your path.
Well,
You
how many?
are the
Oh,
gateway to that.
well, how many people just choose an office to work at or go to because it's close? You know. Uh,
It takes my insurance.
yeah.
It's
I
down the
said
street. I can't go across the
never.
city.
Well, sometimes I'll say the specialist for you is, it's 30 minutes away. 30 minutes away. I said never choose your specialist by geography. Never choose a specialist by
Never.
geography. Just because the guy is close by and he has pants and a job, that's not going to be your husband.
Pants.
Your criteria, wears pants and has a job, is a low bar of entry,
It's a very low
So you need to
bar.
look at core values and how does he make you feel, you
Yeah.
know? So I don't know.
And can he meet my needs? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So
the more
it's,
complex you have, like, the more complex problems, you
yeah,
are going to have that rock star that can meet that needs, not the guy who's got the pants on.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's interesting. And again, part of obviously speaking health is giving people access to me. Like I have like probably like 75 books on my phone, and
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
any issue a patient has, I said, I might seem like a genius. I said, but I do nothing naturally. I said, I do nothing naturally.
Right.
Everything I am is what I've read and what I've been taught. I said, I'm not a natural at anything. But I said, if sleep is the one thing you need to improve on, there's a book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. He's a PhD. He's a neuroscientist out of Berkeley. It's life changing. It's life changing. I said, here's the book. And they go, okay, good. I said, no, take a screenshot. I said, because you're probably not going to just buy it by,
Right.
remembering the name. You don't remember the name. And I said, okay, cool. I said, do anything else? I said, no, let's do one part of your life at a time. Like you can't, no athlete improves every part of their football game, their golf game at one time. You work on putting, you work on your drive.
Yep.
Or if you're an athlete, you work on I said, you're going to work on sleep. That's going to be your thing. And when I see you 4 months from now, I want to hear how this has been life changing. I said, start with this book, listen to it on audio. Don't stop it and start it and take notes. You don't have to learn it to teach it. You're learning it for you to get the message that the reason why you sleep is not just beauty. It lowers inflammation. It makes your brain healthier. It strengthens your immune system. You will look younger. It makes you more insulin sensitive. It'll give you more growth hormone. It'll allow you and your wife to get pregnant. They've actually shown a lot of reasons why
Yes.
couples can't get pregnant is because they're working 6 days a week, 70 hours each. They don't get sleep. I said, literally, and I said, I've learned it in this book. Women who don't sleep well, trying to get pregnant, have a third less follicle releasing hormone, harder to conceive. Men's testosterone's lower, and their sperm don't swim as well. So just being a poor sleeper makes it hard to conceive. So, and they go, oh my God, I got to tell my sister about this. Dr. Odiatu, this is so good. This is so good. So then I leave that appointment. That was just, I was waiting for anesthesia. So having books chairside is one way you don't have to be able to teach them everything. People say, Uche, how can you put it all into an hour lecture into 2 minutes? As well, share the book. You act enthusiastic. Tell them I see great things in you, and let's check on each other in 4 months. And that's a good coach. That's a good
You plant
spouse.
the
That's
seed. Yep.
that's a good mother. That's a good friend. That's a good trainer. Plant the seed, fan the flames, and then move on. You know.
I love your message because even in dentistry, there's so many dental assistants, dental hygienists, administrators that have struggled, even in my practices, with pregnancy, being able to get pregnant, stay pregnant, and I have that story because my 20s were trying to get pregnant and nobody had the answer. They just said it wasn't ever going to happen.
Wow. Okay.
And I had a sleep study. I had my tongue tie released. I had uh, my jaw fixed, and then all of a sudden, after marrying my husband and letting him know this was never going to happen,
Oh wow. Okay.
something happened.
Yeah.
And it's like I connect all of that to sleep and low stress. When you change your habits, I was working 80 hours a week. When you change those habits,
Yeah.
all of a sudden everything does sleep. But quality of sleep is like, you want to be smarter, sleep. I tell my
Yeah.
kids, you want to be smarter, sleep. You want
Yeah.
to play better sports, sleep.
Yeah.
We talk
Yeah.
about food and stuff, but the sleep is like huge. We tape. You use hot. You said you use hot
I
stitch
that I
tape.
try. I went to Vivos in Denver.
Yes,
Um,
awesome.
a Seattle Study Club coordinators group had me do a talk for them, and I was at this Vivos Institute. It's a beautiful center. It's incredible, and they
It's
had different kinds
gorgeous.
of tape. They gave me all these samples. Hostage. I might do some alignment with hostage tape because they're,
Yeah.
in your face. It's very raw. It was
Yes.
done by an ex-football player.
Yep.
I believe in the message, and it's very raw. He started a year and a half ago, and he's like, it's doing great guns. So, but I know it's sleep is foundational. I know people. You go on nutrition Twitter, people argue over redox supplements for an hour. Like they're fighting. I'm like, and here's Peter Tia, and the book Outlive, which is a great book. But if I read it and I take notes in the book. But there was one sentence where he said, "Nutrition is overly emphasized to get fit." He said, "Exercise is number one. Obviously, sleep and breathing, but exercise is way more important than nutrition." But he did say, so this is where he summed it up in one sentence. He said, a poor diet will hurt you way more than a good diet will help you." Meaning that if you're eating a lot of fast food and horribly, and you get to a just to a decent diet, you'll have a huge upswing of benefit. But if you're eating okay, spending another $1,000 a month on supplements and food is not going to give you the same bang for your buck. So don't be so immersed in your organic this and your whatever rules and nutrient timing that. The minute you're eating decent, move on to getting better sleep, breathe better, just being in a happy relationship. It will help you be healthy. I get
Yeah.
people come up to me after a course and say, "Dr. Datu, I'm taking probiotic, I'm doing yoga, I have a running coach, I have a mindset coach, but I still have IBS." And I said, "Well, do you like your job?" She goes, "Oh, I hate my dentist." "What's life like at home?" "Oh, my husband and I getting a divorce." I said, "Well, those two things are massive. You not being happy during the day, 8 hours, and then coming home to fight at night. That is way more important to come to a resolution than trying to find what's the best magnesium, or
Right.
do I do citrate or glycinate?" Like I said, you find an office that empowers you, and you and your husband get some counseling, because that's way more important, because you're not sleeping at night, right? "Oh yeah, I'm high cortisol, blah blah blah." As that's where you need to, don't look at what probiotics you'd be taking. Like, so people focus on the probiotic, focus on your marriage,
Yeah.
focus on your work life. That will help you way more than trying to find the best vitamin D supplement in pill or powder form or K2. Forget the K2, the vitamin D. You find a spouse that loves you and loves you back,
Yeah.
So anyway, it's interesting. People focus on the easy thing. What vitamin do I take? "Oh, by the way, I have a horrible home life and I hate my job." Well, you find an office that empowers you and has core values the same as you, and you and your spouse get some counseling, and that's way more valuable than trying to find a vitamin D. But vitamin D is easy. The marriage counseling, you have to come to terms with: have you healed your childhood trauma? Are
Yeah.
you in your right livelihood?
Yeah.
So anyway, that'll be like a 2-minute conversation, but people want the quick fix all the time, and I don't blame them. What's the fastest way to get fixed? Well, you start creating harmonious conversations with your husband or your wife, and you'll be well on your way to having a better sleep at night. So, not
Yeah.
exactly what people want to hear after a lecture, but
No,
sorry,
but
this
so
is,
true.
yeah, yeah. Unresolved childhood trauma will kill you. Unresolved childhood trauma
Yep.
that's not people aren't aware of or deny that's woven into every part of their lives. So we all have some kind of trauma. Even only children raised as a golden child is traumatic, because you were the gifted little pony that got brought out when Irel is over. So the golden child is still trauma. The
Yep.
firstborn and then the secondborn comes and they lose the attention of the parents, is a feeling of abandonment. So we all have some level of wound, some
Yep.
horrible, but unless it's resolved or worked on, it shows up in the body as chronic illness, shows up in self-esteem, Do am I worthy of a good mouth? Like how many people have you seen with high net worth financially, but a horrible mouth?
All
Something
the
in them
time.
says, I am not worthy of this is a very primary care, how much I love and care for myself. $30 million, but I don't feel valuable. I feel like an imposter. Say they don't take care of these. So anyway, lots of conversations with total body health.
When we talk to mom, I mean, I relate everything to sleep. If you've had children or you drank uh, through high school or through college, you know what a sleepless night feels like.
Yeah,
If you have multiple sleepless nights, how do you function? So now, what if you have multiple sleepless years? You're gonna be the worst. You're gonna be the worst
yeah,
version of yourself. You're
yeah,
gonna be the grumpiest.
yeah,
Even though you're the nicest person and a lot of people know you to be nice, you're still a grump because you're not the best version of yourself.
yeah,
No one gets
yeah,
to see that. So sleep is key there. And that, I love that you just share that simple message with people. Stop focusing on that little needle in the haystack. Look at the haystack sitting in front of you.
yeah,
Take care of
yeah,
your relationship. Take care of your career. The IBS will go away.
yeah, for
Then we
sure.
can figure out the probiotic that you want.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
so
again,
that
it's
makes
it's
sense.
and I try not to be too. I'm not glib about it, but in a way that y- they kind of know. Everyone knows what they really need to do. I remember there's a book called and it's called The Alchemist by Paula Coelho. The Alchemist,
The
and
Alchemist.
it's
Okay.
a fable. It's a really beautiful story. It's called The Alchemist.
I'm going to
It's
write
been
that
out
one
for
down.
yeah. It's a fable, easy to listen to, easy to read, and in it he said everyone has everyone knows what another person needs to do to improve their life, but are completely lost to improve their own. So because we're too close to me. So if you had, and I've had a best friend and said, Uche, how can I change things? I would know exactly what I need to do, and it's probably accurate. But if I'm having an issue every night or every day, I am blind to it. So it's a neat little
Yeah.
story. And another really powerful thing in that book, because I really like it, is a really good primary book is um, what makes life worth living is that you have a dream that can be that come to fruition. The third one is that it's never too late to realize, start working on your dream. 30, 40, 70, 80. It's never too late. Like Sylvester Stallone started painting at 71, you know? So it's never too late to start working on a dream. And anyways, I really like that book. The Alchemist is a really, it's written as a fable. It's a story, but it's by Paula Coelho. The name is. So yeah, lovely book.
That's gonna be on my reading list. So next
Yeah,
time we talk, we're gonna definitely discuss
sure.
this book because that's so super encouraging. But it's also kind of I guess it's kind of what I do is for dental practices. We're too close to it. Dentists sometimes are too close to what's going on in their office, so they need a coach to come in and look and check it from the outside and just give some perspective because all of a sudden they know, but they don't
Hmm.
know
Well,
because
Tom
they're
Brady.
living in it every day.
Well, Tom Brady's got a coach. LeBron James has a coach. Serena Williams has a coach.
Yeah,
She has a serving coach. She has a volley coach. Tom Brady's got a throw coach. And that's why a lot of really high end athletes aren't necessarily good coaches themselves because it's funny. If you ask Tom Brady to coach another team, a high school team, he might think he's a great coach, but he is the talent. He has like
right,
seven different coaches to help him: nutritionist, sleep therapist. So a lot of times, the talented person can't break down what to do, and many times, a good coach, a consultant, and a therapist can
yeah,
chunk down and create excellence. They may not be excellent themselves at it, but they've chunked it down to stepwise performance,
yeah,
and that's the genius of good coaches. A lot of times, the best coaches in the NBA and the NHL and aren't the best. They weren't the best athletes. They're really good
right.
at chunking down skills, making them doable, making them repetitive, and bringing out the best in the rookie and bringing out the best in the top post grad dental graduate. And
Yeah,
that's a good coach. That's a good consultant.
it is. Somewhat,
Mhm.
and it's the journey too. I mean, you've been through these things, you get it, you feel it, and you can relate to it. That relatability is a huge factor of stuff.
Mhm.
So, and having those inspiring people in your lives that encourage you or that have seen more in you than you see in yourself. So
Mhm.
I think that's what you are. You see in every single person, you see more in them than they see in themselves.
And that's the example. I'm sure it's Les Brown, he's a motivational speaker. I remember hearing him back in the 90s, and he was saying that you're not judging someone, but when you see someone's potential, but you treat them like that potential, they start moving that direction. When
Yep.
you look at a person, they're exactly where they are now, they can only drift worse. So if I see my assistant as this genius, as a consultant, if I shared with her Linda Miles is an assistant, and now she was this multi-millionaire, multi-dimensional person. And if I start treating her like that, she will grow into my expectation. But if I only see her as a $18 an hour
Yep.
cleaning instruments, guess what? She can just stay there and drift down. So when you see potential without judgment and you treat
Yeah.
that person like that, with gently though, gently, different ways of doing it, obviously, they can only grow into that position. And that's I'd like my friends to see me as Uche. I totally get you. If they start treating me that way without judgment, I start moving into that. Whenever I'm around them, I'm moving into that position. And that's a beautiful coach, that's a beautiful spouse, that's a beautiful friend, that's a good dad, that's a good mom. When you see your kid like the genius he is, without judgment, or without saying, I'll love you more if you were, you just treat
Yes.
that kid like he's a future Tom Brady, and he will become that all-star, in due time.
Oh, I love your mindset. I wish
Hmm.
every dentist could gravitate towards this, hygienist assistants, administrators could gravitate towards this and say, when I look at my practice, when I look at the people around me, what do I see in them? What
Hmm.
do I see in them? And see all the good and all the potential in them. Could you imagine what our dental industry would be like?
Yeah, well, it's funny. It sounds woo-woo until you realize physicists. This is where it starts getting wild. I remember reading this in the 90s. Physicists still agree. So you and I are more empty space than matter. And this is what science says. You might look like this human, this, whatever size, weight, and height you are. But in particle theory, you're more space than particles, than matter. And the only reason why you look like a body with density is because everything's vibrating. But there's a particle, the smallest particle known to science is called a neutrino. A neutrino can can go through you and not touch anything and pass through you. That's how much space is in your body. So, and I call that space the womb of creation. That is
Yeah.
the gap between our thoughts. That is the infinite field. That's where God is. And
Yep.
that's where that thoughts lie, in that space. And that's why you talk about creation. And again, we might get a little metaphysical here, but if you and I know I'm more empty space than matter, I am energy. You and I are talking. We're like probably 2,000 miles apart, but we're
Yep.
interacting on this level where there's an entanglement. So the rest of the day, I might think of you two or three times. I might think of this podcast two or three times today. And that's the entanglement. And you and I forever linked. Like that
Yep.
conversation I had with you at LVI in Vegas,
Yeah.
forever linked. This is going to forever link us. Your husband setting up the podcast this morning. I saw that happy champion. Wow, forever linked. I see the support. I see the love. I see it. So that is powerful. Realizing that space is the womb of creation. That's where creation happens, and
Yep.
anyone has access to that.
And I tell everybody, like, if you just stop comparing yourself to someone else, see all the uniqueness in you and be okay, embrace it.
Hmm.
Embrace your weirdness, embrace
Hmm.
your eccentricness, embrace it. Take care of the body that the Lord gave you,
Hmm.
this temple, take care of it. Man, could you imagine the things we can do with that power? So
Yeah. You see
that,
people have done it. You see people have done it. I think there's a quote by E. E. Cummings. It said, the true battle one of the truest battles we'll ever fight is to be our unique selves in a world that wants us all to be the same. Like, it'd be very expedient if we all ate the same, drove the same car, thought the same thought. But to be your unique self is one of the greatest battles we'll ever fight. It's why I want my kids to be unique. Celebrate the unicorn. Lady Gaga, unique. Look at anyone who's ever done anything from Fred Astaire to Winston Churchill, Margaret Thatcher to Gandhi. Anyone who embraces that uniqueness and goes it, that's what we remember. And if you blend in, I tell people, you blend in, nothing will happen. It's like beige, you know.
yeah,
You be the Lady Gaga. You don't get that nose job. Jay Leno was told to get a chin job. He's known for his chin, you
yeah,
know. Arnold Schwarzenegger was told he'll never be an actor. No one wants to listen to a guy who looks like a monster and talks like Dracula. It'll never work. And then he became a box office star from 1984 to 1992. So yeah, to celebrate the oddness, that our oddness is where our true talent lies. where we agree with everyone, that's where we blend in. But that unique way of looking at the world, or that unique talent or physical feature, is where all our treasure lies. And that's a good message for kids. That's a good message for dentists. You know,
A great message.
if they have a drum set in their in their office, put the drum set there. Like, let's let people see
Yep.
it. The biggest thing will say, you got to go see my dentist. He's really good, but he also plays the drums. Like,
Yes.
that's what people will celebrate. You know,
Uche,
that's
I have this incredible doctor who plays a guitar in a band and he sings. And in his office, he probably has 6 guitars. And I'm
wow.
like, make your space, your office space, inviting that you want to come there every day. Make it
Yeah,
feel like home. I said, get these guitars out of the office,
yeah,
put them on the walls, pick them up, play them for your patients, let them know you because they're attracted to you. Half
yeah,
of them have seen you play, but then all of a sudden you come to the office and you're like this different guy. You're the
yeah,
dentist.
yeah,
I was like, be you because then all of a sudden you're going to get talked about because I went to the dentist and he played me a song.
yeah,
I
yeah.
saw him last Friday night, at this club, and then all of a sudden, I love this one song, and I was telling him I saw him, and he just pulled out his guitar and started playing.
Wow.
How cool would that be? Going
Yeah,
to the dentist. So
yeah, yeah.
we embrace those things. So I really love that. So my question for you, we could talk all day long for, I mean, just for hours. I know I could just absorb so much, but what tips would you have for someone in dentistry that is just feeling the blah, the down?
Okay.
We talked
Okay.
about sleep, but give me some tips that they can walk away with some nuggets.
Yeah. What I'm known, I don't really, people tell you what you're known for. People always say, we want to hire you because of your energy. Energy is something what I get all the time. Energy, energy, energy. You're the energizer. You're the energizer. You're going to do the closing keynote. You're going to set the tone in the opening keynote.
Right.
But energy is basically ATP. Basically, at a scientific level, I have a lot of mitochondria pumping out ATP all day long. And you can actually epigenetically turn them off. ATP is basically energy, right? It fuels from blinking, the 21,000 breaths, the 86,000 heartbeats. The challenge is though, they pump hard. That's why your son at 7 and 9 and 10, they're energizers. But by age 40, 45, epigenetically, your mitochondria turn off because you no longer move a lot and you start losing muscle, which is sarcopenia. Now, this may sound a little esoteric, but if you turn back on mitochondria, and one of the best ways to turn back on your mitochondria and have the energizer where people know you as the most, you can still be introverted, but your resilience is legendary in your office, So that idea of building mitochondria is you got to start a strength training program. You'd be surprised how empowered you feel when you can do a one-arm dumbbell row, when you can do a walking lunge with a dumbbell, when you can do kettlebell squats at age 45, 55, 65. So I tell people, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, health is the first wealth. If you want, you will earn more money with more energy. You will be better at closing case presentations with more energy. You'll be a better hygienist with more energy. You need mitochondria to turn back on. And the best way to do that is to look at 3 aspects to include in a regular exercise program: strength training, some kind of aerobic training, and some kind of flexibility training. Those are 3 components of a complete physical fitness program. So, all things held equal, if someone starts incorporating those 3 components into their 7-day week, it'll be life changing. Even your clinical skills may stay the same, but if you get more energy, more strength, more flexible, better ability to pump out oxygen and pump out blood, you will be the living embodiment of what we're sharing today. So strength training, cardio, flexibility. That would I say that would be life changing for anyone listening that maybe only does yoga or someone only runs. You got to do strength training. You got to do cardio. Those are my 3 components of a complete program to turn back on their mitochondria. And they will be that energizer in the office at 45, 55, 65, 75. Gordon Christensen, 88 years old, picked me up in a Dodge street racing vehicle. I got in it and like, boom, he gunned that thing. He crushed my hand like Dwayne The Rock Johnson with his handshake. The guy is unstoppable. And it's his energy. He strength trains. He rides a Harley. He
Yeah.
reads. He's curious. Energy is what Gordon Christensen is. Energy. Lectures for 6 hours in a row without apology back in October the other day at one of his conferences. So you improve your energy and you can build energy by strength training, cardio, flexibility, and then watch what happens in the next 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks, 6 months.
Wow. I mean, that's what it is building energy. I
Hmm.
love those tips. I love your sleep tips. I love your just getting off of the little focus dot and really looking at the big picture, making some changes in your life. Those are all positive things. But I love how you talk to your patients.
Yeah.
Like you have shifted the mindset to wellness, shifted the mindset to prevention, and you've engaged. If doctors, if team members could just take those pieces
Hmm.
for their practice and then take the pieces for their health, it would change the way that they do practice everywhere. I think today you give us all enough meat to live on for a good week of just
Yes.
going back. And then your books, the books that Dr. Uche references, those are great books that we'll put up on this podcast so that you can reach out, you can download. And then Dr. Uche, if they want to get a hold of you, if they want to reach out, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah.
If they want more of those 180 books that you have.
Anyway, so the website's easy. There's a contact portal on my website. So druche.com. So Druche. Instagram, out of all the different platforms, I'm probably on Instagram more often.
Okay,
So
so
that
they
I
can
get
DM you on Instagram.
DM me so easily. I post a couple of stories every day. I have reels on
Yep,
there.
yep.
I think I almost have as many posts as Kim Kardashian. I have 5,400. So
Oh,
in the last 10 years, I have 5,400 posts. And
wow.
none of them will look at me. It's always tips for air travel, two
Yes,
tips to eat healthy on a plane,
yes,
4 ways to choose a better breakfast. I'm
yes.
giving it away. I am giving it away. And you know why I give it away? Because I have a tsunami of stuff I'm always learning that's in the pocket ready for release. So
Yeah, it's got to share. You got to share
yeah,
it and
for
share it
sure.
and share it.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
follow Dr. Uchi on Instagram, reach out to him on his website, and take in the tips. Take the tips in, and you will be grateful for it eternally. And then pay it forward, right?
Oh,
If
for
you take
sure.
it in, you got to share it. You just
Yeah.
can't keep it there. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for just joining us. I hope that the world gets to see you more and more because you two are a light to dentistry and to this world with just your positive energy.
Thank
I
you, Holly. I
appreciate
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
All right, I'm gonna stop us.